Alright, let's talk about vitamin D. For the longest time, I kind of put vitamin D in the May category. You know, like, yeah, it's good for bones, calcium's best buddy. The sunshine vitamin. Sounds nice, like a pleasant jingle from a morning cartoon. But a miracle worker? Especially for something as complex and frankly quite intimidating as multiple sclerosis? My inner skeptic was loud. It was like, sure Hank, next you'll tell me eating more broccoli will let me talk to squirrels. But vitamin D for MS? I filed it under probably overhyped. I pictured vitamin D as this well-meaning but slightly clueless intern in the bustling office of Human Body Inc. It shows up, does its one job okay, helping with bone stuff. But then everyone starts whispering it might actually be the secret CEO. And I'm standing there, looking at its slightly crumpled intern badge, thinking, really? This guy? It just didn't seem to have the gravitas, the scientific oomph to tackle a heavyweight champion like MS. My skepticism wasn't unfounded, or so I thought. Famous last words, as they often are in science. Then, BAM! Science did its science thing. A new study popped up on my radar, and this one felt different. It wasn't just another small piece of the puzzle. It felt like someone had found a really big corner piece. This particular study, published in a journal with a name so long it probably needs its own postcode, decided to get serious. Researchers looked at a large group of people and they weren't just measuring vitamin D levels. They were looking at something much more direct, the potential impact of vitamin D supplementation on MS disease activity. This study, let's call it the Sunshine Showdown Study for dramatic flair, wasn't messing around. It involved actual humans with MS, and they were given vitamin D. Not just a little bit, but a significant dose, enough to really see if it could make a difference. The researchers then tracked things like relapse rates and changes seen on MRI scans. These are big indicators in the MS world. The findings? Well, they were pretty eye-opening, even for a seasoned skeptic like myself. The group taking the higher doses of vitamin D appeared to show some promising signs. We're talking about potential reductions in some of those key MS activity markers. Now hold your horses, this doesn't mean vitamin D is a cure. Let's be super clear about that. Now, this Sunshine Showdown study didn't just appear out of thin air, like a rogue pop-up ad for eternal youth. It builds on a whole family tree of previous research. For years, scientists have been noticing that MS is less common in areas closer to the equator. You know, where there's lots of sunshine and therefore potentially more vitamin D production in the skin. This geographical pattern has always been a tantalizing clue, like a breadcrumb trail leading towards something important. But, as we discussed, correlation isn't causation. Maybe people near the equator also eat more fish or wear more brightly colored shirts. Who knows? Other studies have consistently found that people diagnosed with MS often have lower levels of vitamin D in their blood compared to people without MS. Again, this is an association. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the 4,000 IU question, depending on your preferred dosage. Based on the growing body of evidence, including these more recent encouraging studies, my personal opinion is leaning pretty strongly towards, yeah, probably a good idea. Now, I am not a doctor. I am a guy who talks excitedly about science on the internet, so this is not medical advice. Please, please, please talk to your actual doctor or neurologist before making any changes to your health regimen. They know you, your specific situation, and your medical history. They are the real superheroes here. However, from a scientific perspective, the argument for ensuring adequate vitamin D levels in people with MS seems to be getting stronger. It's not being presented as a standalone cure, far from it. MS treatment is complex and usually involves a multifaceted approach, but vitamin D could be a relatively safe, inexpensive, and accessible supporting player. So, what about me, Hank Green, your friendly neighborhood science enthusiast? What's my vitamin D routine? Well, full disclosure, I do take a vitamin D supplement. I have for years, actually, even before my skepticism about its grander powers began to wane. My doctor recommended it after a routine blood test showed my levels were, shall we say, less than optimal. Apparently living in Montana, where winter feels like it lasts for 11 months, and spending a lot of time indoors making videos isn't a recipe for sky-high vitamin D. Shocking, I know. My routine is pretty simple. It involves a small pill taken most days. It's become as much a part of my morning as trying to find matching socks or convincing my brain that coffee is a food group. I don't expect it to give me superpowers, though I wouldn't complain if it did. For me, it's about covering my bases, ensuring I'm not deficient in something that seems to be increasingly important for overall health, and potentially, as we're discussing, for things beyond just bone density. It's a low-effort, low-risk intervention that my doctor and I agreed was a good idea for me. So, we've journeyed from my initial vitamin D May stance to, this is actually pretty compelling. The science around vitamin D, particularly concerning its potential role in MS, is a fantastic example of how our understanding evolves. What was once a nutrient primarily known for bones is now stepping into a much more complex and fascinating spotlight, especially in the realm of immune function. It's a reminder that even the most familiar things can hold surprising new secrets just waiting for curious scientists to uncover them. And that, my friends, is pretty awesome. Now the big question shifts from the labs and research papers to you. What's your vitamin D situation? Are you a sunshine seeker, a supplement taker, or perhaps someone who hasn't given it much thought until now? There's no judgment here, we're all just trying to navigate this complex thing called health. But given what we're learning, especially if MS is a part of your life or the life of someone you care about, it might be a good time to get a little curious about your own vitamin D status. Knowledge is power, as they say. This isn't a call to rush out and buy the biggest bottle of vitamin D you can find. Absolutely not. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content on health and wellness. Hit the bell icon to stay updated.